So let's go ahead and get started.
Okay, great. All right, well, I want to thank everybody for taking some time out of their Friday morning to come join us. I think we have some great speakers that everybody will enjoy. I'm Jessica Rinehart. I'm with RE/MAX Alliance. I am also a DMAR board member, and I'm really excited to introduce Melanie Morgan. She is our newest board member. She just was voted on last special election.
Hi all, I'm really happy and honored to join the DMAR board and looking forward to my partner in crime, Jessica, and doing some big stuff here in the South Metro. And really happy to be joining and especially hosting today because it's Women's History Month in March. And so Jessica and I both have some history. Both of our mothers were and are realtors, and some of our memories are a gold Century 21 jacket in the 70s and also a red carpet, I think, hanging in somebody's garage. So we have some history here, and it's also 2/3 of the realtors in the 70s were women, which was unheard of at the time. Continues today. So great to be in an industry that respects women in the workplace, and looking forward to serving on the board and being part of the team.
Great, thanks, Melanie. All right, well, I would like to introduce Sean Harper. He is with Added Value Exteriors. He is a contractor who works with a lot of realtors. Sean, do you want to take a few minutes?
Yeah, thank you, Jessica. Again, Sean with Added Value Exteriors. I'm a contractor, and I do mostly exterior work. We do get into interior work. So any of your offices that have a property management arm, for instance, we end up doing a lot of repaint of interiors once people have vacated a premises, for instance. But what we are is generally an exteriors company, and we do insurance claims a lot, as you can imagine, in Colorado, because storm season is approaching, by the way. We have a La Nina year, a weather pattern coming up. We do a lot of cash quotes as well. So and this work is surrounding roofing. That's a major for us. Other exterior work, a lot of paint, as I mentioned, windows, get into siding, and we're expanding a little bit here and there with our referral partners within our company to provide a better service. For instance, disaster restoration, property damage from leaks and stuff like that. What do I want from being an industry partner? I'm really interested in working with and expanding my realtor relationships. So I'd love for you all to take down my number, even if you already have a roofer or exterior person in your network. Always good to have more than one. Sometimes us contractors get a little backed up, and I never take it personal if somebody has to call somebody else to get things done right away, because hey, there's no inventory right now. You guys got to get things moving and keep stuff presentable and get your answers rather quickly. So again, my name is Sean, Added Value Exteriors. I'm going to be able to put my contact info in the chat and keep that handy. Look forward to working with y'all.
Thanks, Sean. Yeah, and if you can put your info in the chat, that would be great. Everyone can take it down from there. Did somebody have a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to find out if he did gutters by chance, or just roof.
He's shaking his head yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, now I'm going to introduce our corporate sponsor, Josh Mitchell with Chase Bank. Josh has been a home lending advisor at Chase Bank for 10 years. He's been a top producer for a number of years, receiving Chase's highest honor for his production results. He moved to Colorado from Texas We won't hold that against you. In 2004 to go to school at CU Boulder, and he hasn't left since. We don't blame you.
Well, Jessica, thank you for the introduction. Good morning and happy Friday, everybody. Yeah, when I made it out here, and like she said, I haven't left because how could you leave this beautiful weather? And I think we're beautiful weather and mountains in our backyard. And I think we're starting to obviously see that more and more on the real estate side. So as Jessica mentioned, my name is Josh Mitchell. I am with Chase Bank. So first and foremost, I just want to jump on this call to introduce myself so that you guys can put a name with a face. I'm sure most of you probably know my colleague Jay, who spoke on last month's call. Throughout the year, Jay and I are going to alternate calls. We want to give you guys some information on Chase products, lender updates. But I think we want to just kind of be a point of contact and a resource for you if you have any lender questions. Jay and I have both been in the industry for quite some time now. For me, it's been about 10 years. And I say that with a caveat because we've been in the industry for quite a bit, but that kind of leads me to my next piece that I want to hit on today. And it seems now, no matter how long you've been in the industry, whether you just started or you've been doing this for decades, I think most of us have not dealt with what we've seen in the last year in Colorado. On the sell side, I'm sure it's fantastic. You get to pick and choose some crazy aggressive offers. However, as a lender, naturally, we deal with the buy side. And so, we're obviously going through some frustrating times because we know that it's a crazy seller market. And so we've, just like anybody else, we've had buyers putting in 50 to 100 over listing, appraisal gaps, and they're still losing offers. And so, we're trying to manage those emotions and how it can be deflating at times, but continuing to march and put our best foot forward. And so I know it's a pain point for many of us on the buy side, and most of us are feeling that. I know I'm personally wondering, when will this madness end? And I don't know if, I don't know if we can see that in the foreseeable future. However, what I wanted to hit on today is that while it may seem impossible sometimes to get a buyer under contract that's a non-cash buyer, there is hope. And one of the examples that I wanted to give is that we had a client, this was a few weeks ago, we had a client that was looking for a Chase lender last minute on a Saturday to get pre-qualified. So obviously, ideally, we would want them to get pre-qualified or pre-approved prior to that, but they called a few Chase banks. Finally, they were able to get them in contact with me. A lot of our folks locally know that I'm available on the weekends, and Jay and I are both very available within reasonable times. And so we put together pre-qualification for them very quick. They basically said, hey, we're looking to make an offer today. We want to make an aggressive offer today. And we said, great, let's do it. At that time, we weren't able to get their file over to an underwriter because it was on the weekend. But we found out that they kind of hit the trifecta with Chase. They qualified for our Chase Homebuyer Grant, which is $2,500 that they just get to put towards closing costs. They also got what's called digital income, which is basically a pre-approved income that we've got in our system for them. And they have an appraisal waiver. On top of that, Chase offers a 21-day closing guarantee. And so we were really able to kind of position this with both agents that, look, we don't have an appraisal. We already have approved income and we have a 21-day guarantee. And we were able to beat out 2 cash offers. I let the agents know that I am more than happy to try to push that closing even sooner than 21 days. And to them, with how aggressive they came in, it really positioned them just as strong as these other cash offers. And it was a last minute deal. So we were very proud to be able to help them get under contract that day. And so, I really just wanted to, I understand that sometimes the stars have to align, but I just wanted to give you that quick example to let you know that it is possible. We will always need to put our best foot forward, but we're going to do the rest to help our clients out. And so I'll continue to elaborate and hit on these products throughout the year. But I invite you to contact me and we can further talk about, how I can help you in the market or just general ways to strategize, because I know we're all trying to do our best right now to help our clients. So I thank you for your time and I'll turn it back over to you, Jessica.
Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely a trying time for all of our buyers. So having a good lender on our team is important. All right, I am now going to introduce Nobu Hata. He is the CEO of DMAR, and he's going to moderate with our speakers today.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, DMAR, Sal, for joining us this morning on a topic that I frankly love talking about, along with I get a lot of questions about, and that's lead generation. And joining us today is our two types of conversations in my mind when it comes to lead generation. Expert on the free end of things and on the paid end of things. First, what I would like to really kind of point out is we're going to be talking about lead generation, but once you leave this room, this Zoom, stop talking about people like they're leads. I think that right away is the best thing that you can do going forward to make your business better, is to stop treating people like a lead, because no one likes to be treated like a lead. Okay, so while we'll be talking about it here. You remove that word lead from your lexicon, because I can tell you for a fact that neither Shay or Kenny uses that term in their business when they're talking to people about their buy and sell needs. So let's kick it off. First, to talk about the free end of things is, yes, it's weird. It's my wife, Shay, who runs a $70 million a year real estate business out of Chicago in our home office. Shay, you want to introduce yourself real quickly and talk about how much you pay for leads?
Sure, absolutely. So as Nobu said, I'm Shay. I'm running my real estate team in Chicago from Denver. So that's been an interesting thing to do for the past 6 months and go back and forth. I don't pay for leads. I don't pay anything for leads. I've never bought leads from Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, et cetera. It's not a model that works for me. I'm a mom of a 4-year-old who during this pandemic, we don't have a lot of childcare. I don't have the bandwidth to respond to people in 30 to 90 seconds, which is typically how quickly you need to respond in order to get that lead. And frankly, I don't want to. I don't want to be tied to my phone 24 hours a day to try to respond to somebody. I don't like talking on the phone. Anybody who knows me knows I'm a total introvert. The pandemic is my jam. I don't have to leave my house. I don't have to shower. I don't have to change out of my pajamas. This works really well for me, right? So to have to talk on the phone to clients holds no interest to me whatsoever. If I call, it's because their house is on fire or we have an offer. Those are the only times I ever call. So those things don't work for me. So, you have to figure out, I think in part, what doesn't work for you, and then figure out what does and focus on the what does. Because if you like doing it, you're going to do it every day and you're going to be consistent. If you don't like doing something as lead generation, you are not going to do it. So, I think we're going to talk about in depth kind of how I do lead generation, but I don't cold call. I don't work expireds. I don't work for sale by owners. I never have, I never will. I'd rather crawl under my desk and hide than have to do any of that stuff. And I don't buy leads, and I never will buy leads. I think that you can do things in a much more effective manner by developing real relationships with clients. And we're going to kind of get into that and talk about that more.
On the other end of the spectrum is Kenny Truong, a guy that I've been watching since you were working with counterparts of mine for Climb Real Estate. You have since opened your own brokerage. Kenny, talk about your ideology, where you are in this world, and if you're willing to, how much you do spend on the paid end of lead generation.
So my business has kind of evolved over years. I was first started off with a small brokerage with 6 people, and I was there for 4 years. When we were Climb Real Estate, they grew to roughly 300 agents during my 5 years there. I brought on close to 70 agents myself to that company when I was there. Since then, last January, January 23rd, I went to EXP Realty with my team of 12. And right now I have a team of 114. So my business is a lot different. I'm still in production on a little bit, like I go to maybe 1 or 2 appointments a week over Zoom, mostly with sellers. I'm not actively working with any buyers anymore. With the lead spend at one point at Client Real Estate, when running the E team there, spending $50,000 a month just on Zillow and doing in Realtor.com was a bust, at least in my market and my zip code. But as we kind of transition our last year there, we were decreasing our spend. The 1 year was average of 50 grand a month to then 30. And my last year at Client, we were at 10 grand. And we kind of funneled that downwards to even as low as 2 grand last January. But online leads were really, really high converting leads last year. And we slowly increased our lead spend from 2 to 17 grand within 6 months because zip codes were getting sold out. open houses weren't allowed. You can't network with anyone. So, you know, a lot of agents were at loss for where to get business. Also, we've done so well on online leads that I'm a HomeLight top 1% agent on their program. So they send us really, really qualified seller leads. They also have like a cash trade-in program. So we get a lot of their leads are ready to actually sell their house and buy something else. We're partners with Resident Partner Agent will keep you really, really busy. Many of our agents are on there, and also a partner with upnest.com. And all these leads websites, they do take 25 to 35% on average. So it's pretty expensive. I don't know exactly how much is going out. I don't need to track what's coming in. But for like my thoughts on these online leads, it's just that there's sweat equity versus check equity. I just don't have the time of day to go prospect for a business. And it's easier for me to feed and groom 100+ agents by buying leads and teaching them to convert at a very high level.
Interesting. Okay. So guys, if you have questions, put them in the chat. Julie and I will be injecting your questions as best we can into this. Frankly, Kenny, Shay, you guys are bringing to the table, I think, very two distinct ideologies. And I think, Kenny, with yours that they're changing, it's very interesting for me to hear that you went from 50,000 a month to 2 and then back up to 17,000 because of the market changes. This was not one of the questions that I put on your kind of your thing to think about. But
term Zillow, I don't know, like I heard a lot of top producers on panels that I watch and were on in my marketing last 2 years get off these platforms because they did not want to be dependent on them. And I fully agree with that too. You need to build your personal brand. In the future of real estate, you're going to have people like Shay just crushing it with organic business. I think it's really going to be pretty contrast. Either you build your brand and get your own business, or you pay these platforms because then they're the ones advertising millions. And HomeLight.com does a ton of advertising. I went to Las Vegas, watch some TV. I hear it on the radio. I see it on TV, and then Open Door, they're not in my market, but all these companies are spending millions and hundreds of millions of dollars to advertise to your clients. So if you're not getting in front of your clients, then these platforms will. So for us, we teach our agents to leverage the existing deals. Like we're paying these leads, but that's the fastest way for a new agent to get a lot of business. And they're constantly posting on social media. We all post on Instagram a lot. I post 50 times a day. I teach my team. They probably do on average 10 to 20 times a day to talk about that client, that experience. I'm showing this house. This is what's going on. I made 100 calls today. So we're using that as ammo to kind of fill their arsenal to get business. Because it's really hard to start from scratch. Right? If you're a new agent, you can be doing video content, YouTube, podcasts, and reach out to share, but there's still like a lag time between you getting in and people knowing. So like we want to get people in faster. And for me, it's all about scale. It's hard to scale relationships, especially introvert, or I don't even like talking to people that much, honestly. It's funny. I talked to a friend, partner I used to work with last year, and then it was funny because her last 6 clients, 5 of them asked her out to dinner or lunch because they become friends. I looked, and my last 100 clients I closed, I was like, I think I hung out with 2 people, and that was like a year later. So I just never really been a deep relationship, and I tried and it just doesn't work for me. And that's why where my strength is on the online side, and that's why I focus my time, because I've tried it and it's awkward for me, and I just do what works for me.
Well, so let's dive into that. So Shay, so you don't spend any. As Kenny has mentioned, relationships are really key even now during this kind of massive change in the market. What has been key in your business on that conversion rate? So no matter who's coming in, whether you're getting 5 inquiries or 5,000 inquiries, what has been that key to converting these people into clients so they're willing to go out with you in a kind of a crazy time with the pandemic going on and uncertainty in the market? What has been key for you for converting these folks inquiries no matter where they're coming from? I think she fell off. Kenny, let's go back to you.
She's just staring really deeply at you. Okay.
It's like
sure. What's the question?
What's been key for your conversion, no matter where they're coming in from, right? So you're spending 17,000, right? How many people does that equate to inquiries for you?
So, the 17,000 spending we had Zillow's our biggest platform. That's why I bring that up. We had that. We ended our our spend relationship with Zillow in December, because we became Zillow's first flex team. So Zillow, if you guys don't know already, is reporting 10% of all the business last year is flex, was a referral-based model. Some markets have flipped entirely. You cannot buy leads from many of these platforms anymore. So this is really important to know. You can't buy leads from Zillow in some markets like Phoenix. In Chicago, I heard with the Realtor.com Opcity relationship, where now it's Ojo Labs. It's a rename. You can't buy Realtor.com/Opcity/Ojo Labs in Chicago anymore. So if you want to, if you're even considering at all to be on these platforms in the future, where it's this either this way or this way, you have to spend something so you can get in front of them. In December, we became Zillow Flex team. So now there's three more in the East Bay. We pay them a 35% referral fee. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. What's the question?
So what's been the key to conversion? So you're spending this much, right? So how many inquiries are you getting from these folks? So what's been definitely, but trend wise, is that they're higher quality leads that you're paying for, right? So which has been kind of meant to that payout is something that you need to do, right? And that's on the referral end. How many inquiries are you getting, and how are you converting these folks?
Currently on the Zillow platform, the way they do it with teams is originally in December we had 90 connections, live connections, warm handoffs. We were starting off at an 8% conversion rate, which is a lot. Nationally, I heard from, they'll tell you it's 10%, but nationally I heard from many other big team leaders, it's about 4%. So right now we're getting about 230 connections a month, and we're set to get a 15% increase every month, where we'll get 300 minimum a month by June. So we're converting at a pretty high level. So imagine 12 escrows a month, almost guaranteed from Zillow at 800 grand price point. That's a lot of business. Yes, we're paying 35%, but the agents are doing really well, and they're leveraging that and posting on social media. And then how we are able to convert very highly, if you guys, every platform is different. So whether it's a Redfin or a PPC lead from Google or Facebook, or Zillow, which is the highest conversion really in the whole market, we train our agents to go through a script. It's called the ALM script. It's appointment, location, motivation. We actually don't even talk about the motivation. It's a second call. I'm not gonna dive too deep into it, but every Friday from 9:30 to 10 o'clock, we have our Zillow Flex team meeting with existing team members. We've been adding 5 members a month. So we've been pretty strategic growing our team size specific to that program, along with the correlation with the number of leads coming in. And then at 10:30 to roughly 11:15, a 45-minute meeting, we have auditions. So agents have to come and practice the script and role play and show that they can talk to a lead. We have all of our team meetings recorded on YouTube. You guys care to look it up, you can just look up Zillow Flex Auditions, Kenny Truong. And then we actually have individual. We don't do individual auditions anymore, but we really get that conversion script down, where we're delivering. Because the main thing with online leads is they just want an appointment. They don't know who you are. They really we got to get the appointment. Don't talk too much on certain things. And it's been a learning curve. And more recently, now that it's our 3rd month in program, we launched 6 squads. We launched 6 squads within our team. Technically, we're one big team, but I run more like a brokerage right now at EXP Fast Real Estate. But we have small squads of 6 each, 6 of them, where now they listen in on each other's calls, and we go through the week. So we look at every detail, and every week we get to improve on them call. But this is how you work online leads. You can't just buy leads and all of a sudden think you're gonna, do well. You need to go through a lot of training to convert at a high level. Otherwise, you're wasting a lot of money. So the relationship build is almost after, right? After that first contact. You're using ALM scripts, which I actually hate scripts, but ALM scripts are actually really, really good because it drives people to get to their motivation, to get them in the back of your car or whatnot to go see houses. 8% conversion rate. We'll talk about 4. Now it's 4. Yeah.
So we'll talk about lead curation in a second. But Shay, right? So same kind of ideology when it comes to zero lead gen spend. It's more of a referral-based system which is scalable, and Kenny does after the transaction, right? So with you're going to get probably a lower amount of leads coming and inquiries coming into your system, but that conversion rate could potentially be higher because they're referral based, right? Is that key to your conversion?
Correct, absolutely. So, I mean, typically we probably convert 95% of all leads that come in because they're all warm leads. They're all referrals from, from other clients or agents. And we take a very opposite approach. We want to get to know that client very deeply, very quickly. And so we have an extensive survey they fill out. You can check that out on our website, which is buyselllovechicago.com, before we even have the initial conversation with them. So that's our ready to buy or ready to sell survey. And that asks them questions, like, kind of what is their disc profile? Do they make quick decisions quickly? Do they need a lot of data? Is there anybody else who's going to be involved in their search? Are they getting gift money? What kind of property do they want? The areas, all that kind of stuff. But then it also asks them what's their favorite Starbucks beverage? What's their favorite kind of wine? What kind of music do they like? And so when we go to the first showing, we show up with their favorite kind of coffee and their favorite snacks. When we were driving them around in our car, we had their favorite music on so that we would play between showings. So we really want to get to know them on a personal level as much as we can. We send them a lot of gifts. So after we've done that initial phone call, before we even take them out for the first showing, we've sent them chocolate covered strawberries and say, we really look forward to working with them and getting to know them. When they go under contract, we send them another gift. When they pass attorney review, we send them another gift. So we're really all about building that relationship. And it's funny how Kenny said, that maybe he'd, gone out with one or two clients after the transaction ended in the past couple of years. It's the exact opposite for me. We would invite clients over to our house all the time. Nobu would cook breakfast for them. They'd come over on a weekend. They'd bring their kids. We'd have play dates. Most of my clients became my friends. When Nobu and I got married, out of the 75 people who came to our wedding in Hawaii, 50 of them were past clients. So, we look at building that long-term, very deep relationship with these people. And I tell them, they become my friends and, and my clients really for life. So it's a very different philosophy of, that relationship with clients.
So jumping back into that relationship build, and guys, if you haven't noticed, that the trend with both of these guys is that no matter how quickly they come in or the frequency they come in, the quicker you can get to people's motivation and get these folks, buyers or sellers, to trust you and that your motivation is going to be the same as their motivation, the better. And frankly, the more information you could get from them, which is why intake is so important right now, no matter how much you're spending, the better it is going to be. Kenny pays for it. Shay actually has it organically on her site for this. So Kenny, ROI, let's talk about ROI really quickly, right? You've mentioned that it's changed quite a bit. Are you finding that this referral-based system, and which is kind of the thing with all technology companies now, they've all become brokerages, right? And I believe, frankly, that there are going to be more brokerages that sell you leads and that there will be that will sell real estate going forward. Are you finding that type of qualitative brokerage referral-based system, is that the thing that has led to your ROI lately? And do you think that's scalable?
It's 100% scalable. I think the difference between like Shay's business and my business, for me, my clients are my agents in a way. I serve them more than I serve clients. As I'm setting up production, the leads come in through websites. So my company has like 110, 114 agents. I have about 45 agents on my team that are on my team on a 50-50 split, and it scales up from 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, from 50% to 75%. Listing size 75-25 me, or 60-40 they bring the lead. And then on the other side of my company, I have a little over 60 agents on the independent split, like a traditional brokerage. 95% of them are a 75-25 split. So the really, really high quality leads, like from HomeLight, Upnest, I guess Redfin, I only give those leads and my SOI leads to my team members with those splits, and it typically depend on geographic location. I give it to the most experienced person with the minimum amount, like who can I give to that I'm powering up. So that's what. And then what you need to get leads if you're trying to like grow a big brokerage. Like my goal is to do 200. I get 250 agents by the end of this year. We've closed out over 110 deals this year at over almost $80 million, and we have about $60 million pending. So we're going to do $600 million this year. So I'm more running a brokerage, and to get people to our brokerage, we need to attract them with the tools of training and leads. Like if anyone's like a competitive thing in my market, if you're making less than 100 grand in at least in most markets, it doesn't even matter which brokerage you're at, right? So because with the splits the way they are, until you're making 100 grand, you're not getting like the extra benefit of being at that company. So we're attracting a lot of people, agents from other companies to come work on our technically a team, but in my brokerage. And a big factor is they can come in, they can call our lead pond. We have 5,000 leads in a lead pond with full access. Anyone coming in can, after they've gone through a buyer script, and can deliver a strong buyer presentation over Zoom, know the contract really well. And we don't let people on. We're constantly training and qualifying them. They can access the lead pond. And once they get the lead pond, they can get like medium grade leads through Zillow nurture leads. They don't even get the live connection. So we're constantly bringing people, agents, which are my clients, through this funnel. And that's what we're using to track them. There's no way it can track 100 agents. You must have something either paying people come over or something really, really amazing to be able to bring that many people. So for us, it's all about scalability and how to get agents to want to talk to us. And proof of success, like Shay and many top agents, your proof of success of why a client would hire you is your reviews, is your past sales, is your highest price per square foot, is the 10 offers you've gotten. Well, our proof of success in our company is these brand new agents. I can name 5 agents within the last, been here for less than 6 months that are on their 10th transaction. That's the story that we're telling, like a highest price per square foot. We have success stories, so more agents are coming over, and as more agents come over, we have more people to work the leads, and then the leaders, the SWAT teams that we have within our team are converting high level, which is activating more leads, and we can bring in more people. So it's just a different type of business.
Yeah, but still, you're paying for these leads or going into a pool. From there, you are picking really who is going to be the best fit for these potential clients of yours, the clients being your customer, which actually I think that's a fantastic ideology, no matter if you're paying for leads or not, right? But then going with ones that are going to have the most expertise to make sure that motivation is fulfilled. That's a great way to scale. But I also heard
SOI only goes to my best agents. Like I still have incoming business a lot. I'm more like agent referral based and general referral base, because like even when I post online, it's more geared towards agents, like this type of panel. So I give the best referral source to my best agents, but everyone else gets like the lead, client, customer, however you want to think. If I've never met that person, I wouldn't consider that my client yet. And I'm not getting 300 clients a month. I'm getting 300 people to talk to, and I need to find someone on my team to talk to these people and deliver the best service possible.
Yeah, that's great. Service, and at the end of the day, is going to be the thing that's going to be seal the deal for you. Andrew Adams has a really good question in terms of growth. Is your focus on growth or growing a team because your company incentives adding agents more than other companies, so you get incremental growth with your growth? I don't think that.
I understand what that. Our team members, there's a small financial incentive with our company to bring on people. So on our last team meeting was our best team meeting ever, and all our team meetings are recorded too and on YouTube. You care to watch this, an hour long. Our team members brought on 12 guests this week to our team meeting. I brought on 2, so our team members brought on 10 potential team members to our team. So because everyone's happy being here, they're constantly asking more people to come over, and we have a pretty large geographic reach.
All right, so switching gears, right? Let's go back to Shay on the free end of things, right? So you're not paying for it. You do have a team as well, right? But your team is very focused on quality, on quality control in a very competitive market. So, how do you go about creating a pool of buyers and sellers that you can go back and curate? We're going to talk about curation in a second, but how do you grow this customer base in a time in everyone's market? It is really tough to buy, and sellers are needing more and more incentive to get off the table. So how are you building your customer pool, Shay?
Absolutely. So as Nobu said, I have 2 other agents on my team. So there's 3 of us. We did 160 transactions last year between the 3 of us. We have essentially about 40 hours of admin help. So that's kind of my whole team. So it's pretty small. We really focus on free things we can do for the most part to bring in clients, or very low cost. When I was starting as a new agent, I didn't want to have to spend a lot of money on lead generation. I wanted to keep my expenses really small, and I wanted to be able to rely 100% on myself to bring in clients. I didn't want to have to rely on a Zillow, et cetera, because those things can change. And, I like being very self-reliant. So a couple of the things that I did was I created a networking group. I liked the idea of something like a BNI, but you can't ever get into them. They're always started by a realtor. They meet at 7 a.m. I'm not a morning person. I can't go once a week. I have a 4-year-old, so those things don't work for me. So I decided I wanted to really find people when they were in milestone moments in their lives. So for me, those are moments when they're getting married, they're having a baby, they're getting a divorce, they're having a job change, or they've had a death in the family. So those are the 5 milestone moments I look for in people's lives, because those are typically when their housing needs change. So if I can get in front of them during those milestone moments, that's when they're usually going to need a realtor. So I decided I would create a networking group with one person per industry who would know when they were in one of those milestone moments and could refer them to me. So a person like a will and estate attorney, a divorce attorney, a financial planner, a CPA, a doula, a midwife, those kinds of people. I put together a group of 25 of them. We meet every other month for lunch now over Zoom, and it's very much a working group. So everybody has to ask for 3 referrals from the group. And by Sunday, you have to give out referrals to as many people as you can in the group. Over the course of the year, you have to give out 12 referrals. If you don't, you're kicked out of the group. And so last year I closed about $10 million in business from that group. We met for a total of 9 hours over the course of the year. So 9 hours of my time for 10 million in business is a very good ROI for me. And that's free. It doesn't cost anything to do. We also do a lot of events. So we hired a photographer. We sent the photographer out to everybody's house, all of our clients, to do socially distanced porch photos this past year. Our clients loved it. It was $20 a family. They posted them on social media, tagged us, so we got an additional referral business from that because it was just a nice thing for us to do for our clients. We're doing the same thing this year with spring photos. So we're picking a cool location with a cool mural and having all of our clients come, so I think events are really important. We always do a Thanksgiving pie giveaway. We do a lot of pop buys. We just did hot chocolate bombs that we dropped off at 250 clients' homes for Valentine's Day. We did Girl Scout cookies last year. We're doing Mother's Day flowers this year for all of our moms. So I think combination of networking groups, events, pop buys are really important. We're heavily focused on divorce attorney this year because a lot of people are going to get a divorce because of COVID. It's just the fact. And so we've been reaching out all year to divorce attorneys to create those relationships and have started seeing the fruits of that with a lot of referrals. And then Facebook groups. I think we're going to talk about social media, so maybe I'll hold off on that one, but we get a ton of business from Facebook as well. Those are kind of our, our top referral sources beyond really loving on our clients. And, we have a 10-year post-transaction follow-up program with our clients, which I think I'll talk about a little bit later, to stay in front of them. So, for me, it's a combination of loving on our past clients a lot. And if you do that and you stay in contact with them, they will give you business, because I think the stat that Nobu told me was, here it is right here, that 80% of clients want to use you in the future, but they don't remember your name. So if you're not staying in contact with them for 10 years after the transaction ends, they're not going to know your name to call you and use you again. So that was really kind of the core of my business, was hearing that stat and figuring out, if I had a good experience with a client and they liked me, I want to make sure I get their referral business for the next 20 years. And in order to do that, I have to stay in contact with them regularly.
And the qualitative aspect is great. And the fact that you guys are really talking about the same thing, but in different timelines, I think is a very interesting thing that, man, frankly, I can learn a lot from. Let's talk about systems real quick. So no matter what, right, you get a lead, no matter where it's coming from. It still takes systems in order to do it. Aside from lead generation in general, the number one question I get is CRM. What type of CRM do you use? How do you use it? That's like the number one question that's been around for about 100 years, right? So Kenny, what does your systems look like? So you get a lead, definitely one of those people, not one of those 4% or 8% that's going to buy or sell today. How do you intake these folks and keep track of them until they are ready to go with you?
Every contact that comes in, I immediately add it to our CRM. We currently use Chime CRM. We put the source in there, kind of price point. One thing I love about Chime is that I have virtual numbers on there, but I actually use my real number on it. It goes, it's kind of confusing, but all the calls are recorded. So all the calls are recorded. So when I'm talking back half a year later, hey, remember last time we spoke back in September, you said this and this. So that's really a big, important part of our business. And then on the kind of similar note, all the calls are recorded. We use Slack for our company, and all the best calls last week, I dropped 3 calls, half-hour call, 1 hour call, 1 hour call. or Zoom into my Slack channel. So all my agents are trained. They watch what I do versus me teaching it. So that's why we've been able to scale so fast too. But for the lead coming in, we added in, I don't work. I've done maybe 2 deals in the last 2 years by myself. I just don't work by myself. Every client that comes in, I partner with an agent, and they become the point of contact. I am involved in every group text and email thread for every new contact that comes in. Most of my personal business, which is less than 10% of my entire company now, like I'm really getting out production, is my stuff. So I rely on my partners a lot to handle that aspect. And then for any lead that comes in, we typically put them on a listing alert. And if you're working a database, it's so important that people just don't do this enough. You always need to set the next task to do. If you're talking to someone today and they're renting next January, I think I learned this from either Mike Ferry or Buffini. So right now it's March, right? Someone say, "Oh, I just signed the lease," and so 1 year lease, it's March. So you always, whatever time frame that someone tells you that they're going to be back in the market, cut that in half and call them then. Because if you're calling someone in February and March, when their lease is up, they're already prepped. They already talked to a lender. They already talked to an agent to get themselves ready to buy. You need to call them in September and say, "Hey, I'm just checking in. Last we spoke, you signed a lease in March. Is that still happening?" "Oh yeah, great. We should probably connect soon." And then you connect with them in October for coffee, lunch, or Zoom, and then you get that going. So we're working a large pipeline of business. Too many agents work through this kind of roller coaster ride. You have success goals right now. You're crushing it. You're busy as heck. You stop marketing, and then boom, you're down to zero. Then you start over. So most agents walk these cycles to have sustainable business. Now, March, every single month of the year, you need to know when these people are going to be taking action, and then what month. So you're prepping yourself for that. Maybe the people who are ready to go, like you're talking to 5-6 buyers right now, you need to talk to them every half week, 2 week. If someone is a B grade client, like longer term out, 3-6 months, maybe you need to be talking to them once a month, and having listing alerts and newsletter drips and staying in contact. And Instagram, you should have a close friend list that like people who send you referrals in the past. For me, I use it for agent attraction, but I think you can do up to 40 people on Facebook where you put star next to them. And when they post something, it goes to the top of your list. So you should, if you're working a lot of past clients and referral people, your best partners or I guess BNI group too, people, you should know everything that they're doing so you can watch out for these milestone events so you can stay engaged with them at all times.
That's awesome. So really being cognizant of timelines of your of potential clients' timelines. Asking that question is one of the first issues that most real estate people don't do. They don't ask these formative questions on the front end because all we care about are folks that want to buy and sell today. Yeah. Whereas no matter how you're buying leads, it's putting them on that timeline. I love Chime CRM, by the way. If you're a Google nerd, Chime is fantastic for it, and Chime can scale as Kenny has mentioned. But setting those timelines, same thing that you do, right, Shay? Right. So you're very cognizant of the quality of those buyers and sellers, both today, tomorrow, and next year. What do your business systems look like on your end?
Yeah, absolutely. So my philosophy is clients don't care about me. Clients care about what I can do for them and how I can educate them. And that what most clients are looking for is really good educational local content, because they can get generic content on Zillow and other places like that, but what they can't get is really hyper local content, and that's what I'm able to give them. So I use a CRM called RealVolve. I have a bunch of different campaigns in it. So I built my business on open houses and following up with people after open houses with good content, because I recognize that a lot of those people weren't necessarily ready to buy for 6 months, 9 months, a year. So I have a 2-year post follow-up campaign with any potential client that we meet who's not ready to buy today, but is potentially ready to buy in the future. And we email them once a month with educational content that can help them get ready for their real estate search to start. So ways to increase their credit score. Are estimates accurate? That's a big question we get a lot, and we explain why they're not accurate. What are pre-foreclosures? That's a question we're getting a lot right now because so many people put their mortgage into forbearance. So anytime you're getting asked a question by a first-time home buyer more than once, that should become content that you push out to those people before they're actually ready to buy. Then in addition to that, we have a website through Playster, which is a member benefit through your association. You get a discount through Playster. We have a mobile responsive website on there. And that's basically where I dump my brain. So, I have information on there. Are estimates accurate? What are pre-foreclosures? How do you win in multiple offers? How do you win in this environment where people are going way over asking price? And that way somebody can get on that website at any time and read all of that content. And then when I push those emails out to them via the CRM, it's a short email, less than a paragraph, so they can look at it on their phone. They click on the link, it takes them to my website for more information. And that way we're able to get them on the website and they can hunt around for additional information, and they're constantly coming back to that website as a resource. So I'm at the point where I have a ton of clients now who reach out to me and say, I've been reading your website for the past year, and now I'm ready to work with you. And, they already know how the transaction works because that's very detailed on my website under the buyer section. There's 31 steps there on how the transaction works. So, I think it's really important that you have a website that is hyper local with how the transaction works here in the Denver metro area and answers questions like, is there one earnest money payment? Is there two? Can you cancel a transaction after you go under contract? All of those kinds of questions, because that's what they can't get in other places.
How about letting us know that they don't plow roads here when it snows 2 feet? I would have loved to have known that before we moved here, so I could have bought a snowblower last year. Right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, stuff like that. Oh, so Kenny, right? So you're on the other end of the content stream. Your use of social media can be avant-garde, but it's very personal. You allow people in. Man, I feel like I know your fiance, right? But your use of social media has led you to winning a lot of awards. It's part of your conversion scheme. There's been a lot of question about how you use social media now in lead conversion. What are some tips and tricks that you can give people to keep your brand memorable on that?
So, I mean, my brand has truly evolved into my agents are my clients. Like the stuff I post like 30, 50 times. I really post anything. Like I always make fun of people. I have no problem talking trash about other companies, which I do pretty frequently, but I respect them. And I always like highlight the differences. But I'm just keep it real, document exactly what I'm doing. I show people the back end, like not many people are, like this. So we have, in the last year, we've opened 2 co-working spaces. We have a frat house now, and we showed how we got the frat house. We just got 3,000 square feet space in the city of Brentwood, California, East Contra Costa County. I'm showing all the invoices, all the thoughts behind it. My conversations with the commercial agent, my conversations with the commercial designer. We're spending 60 grand on this office. Here's what the concrete looks like. We're shopping for paint colors. We're looking at furniture. This is the furniture. Look at our red furniture. It looks better than the other red company's furniture. Like we're constantly showing that, and we have a grand opening. People are very excited about this office. And we're actually opening up 2 more retail locations in the city of Hayward, California, and Hercules. So we're constantly telling people the storytelling what we've been doing. So last year, like if you watch some videos on my team members join, like why did you guys join Canteen? Whether he used scare tactics, he says Zilloflex is coming and we don't work with him. Like people like this, they're gonna get in, and it worked. I actually got it. I was first to get the account in my area. Now we're kind of leading the way. Like, well, I constantly show a Google Map screenshot with X's of the 9 locations I want to be in. I'm talking over a year already. I want to be in Sacramento, Peninsula, San Francisco, and such. But this is the path. We're gonna go to Oakland, Walnut Creek, Concord, Brentwood, Hayward, Hercules, and fast forward. I have office. I'm opening my 9th location by August, within the year. So I've had and then we're gonna do all the cool stuff that Shay talked about earlier. But this again, my clients are my agents are my clients. So we are going to be doing pie giveaways and community events and encouraging them to use these really cool spaces as event spaces for their alumni, baby showers, birthdays, holding client appreciation parties at these. And then I'm working on hiring a runner. I'm probably end up hiring my brother, a runner full time, to do Popeyes for every single person on my team. So every good idea. So like realize we are executing the ideas just at scale and with a system in place. So my conversation and the way I leverage social media is I document everything. And now recently I actually started adding every single thing I do into an album, where it's food, funny, EXP, fast real estate, things you're learning, and everything's documented. So you can actually watch probably 2,000 stories that I posted from January until now. Everything's documented. So when an agent, because I started using Clubhouse and I picked up a couple of thousand people from Clubhouse and Instagram. I was like, wait, I need to now start showing people what I'm doing, because I've been just randomly posting and disappearing. For now, kind of funneling in. So bringing people in, they see the story, they see the vision that I've had, I'm executing every part of it. So now like the storytelling of my market is like, well, we're looking to get to 250 agents. We're going to get to 600 million this year. We're actually on track to 600 million. And we're going to do over $1 billion next year. Who wants to be part of $1 billion team and #1 team in California? So people are coming on. It's like, oh, when are you opening up in Sacramento, in San Jose, in the Peninsula, or Vacaville? So like I said, hold up. We're doing this, and then I'm buying a car. I'm actually going to get myself 2 cars in September after all this is done. And I actually went to car dealership randomly, like I'm getting this car, watch, in September. So people like the car guy, people are like, oh shit, like, okay, you're doing offices, and we're very strategic, or I'm not just wasting money. I'm after opening my 9th office, which are assets, and agents are assets to not liability to my company. I'm doing this. So constantly talking about the vision of what you're going to do is what intrigues people and keeps them hope to watch certain things.
Yeah, that's actually a really good takeaway, right? I think there's a lot of folks who tend to, especially in real estate, tend to be a little fake about what it is that they do. Fake it till you make it is something that I've heard so often in real estate in the 5 different markets that I sold real estate in. People can smell fake.
It's
and authenticity.
Biggest pet peeve I've had about agents is like this branding. They I think to me, because I actually, someone interviewed me yesterday for a college project. I said my biggest pet peeve is fake agents. They try to look, a lot of people get into business to look cool, because being agent is pretty cool, but they just focus on that, like cool pictures out there, but they don't sell any real estate. That's why there's an 84% burnout rate, or from realtors. If they don't make past year 3, they're out. So our agents are completely different. We're actually teaching agents, hey, you're in first year of business, we don't have any business. Let people know, hey, I'm just starting off. This is what I'm doing, documenting your day. You know, hey, I just talked to this client. This is my first time seeing this. I'm writing an offer today. Yeah, most people are turned off. Well, you know what? Buyers work with, you don't have to have any experience to work with buyers. Buyers work with people that like, trust, and think, and can be competent. If you're on a competent team, you fulfill all the requirements. Sellers are different. Sellers know, what are you going to do for me? What does this cost? How long will it take? Blah, 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 right? But that's why our agents are doing so well, because they're being fully transparent. They're not being fake out there. They're letting people know they're new. They're letting people know they're working hard. They're showing up in the office. They're documenting. They're talking about how many calls they made, and that people appreciate the hustle.
Yeah, I got to tell you, so there's a lot of questions about social media. Guys, show up. Showing up is 99.9% of
and record it.
Thing.
Show up and record it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to record it, that's great. What I love about it is the transparency they're showing off. It is for a lead generation mentality for your agent growth, which is fantastic, right? But authenticism is huge. People can smell fake. Stop being fake online, right? And Shay, you are on the other end of that. Your clients exude those thanks for you. Let's talk about something that you just kind of ended with, Kenny. Seller leads, right? It is an incredibly competitive time to get a seller. So every seller in every market, your market, Chicago here, they all know that they're sitting on a gold mine, right? Here in Denver, this is the Denver area is a destination market, which makes it even tougher for a lot of our members. So if you're thinking about like seller leads, right? How do you, Shay, and maybe talk about this, how do you get people to want to use you rather than all the other competition? So in Chicago, there are 15,000 realtors just in the city. There are technology companies there, like there are here, that are helping people facilitate the sales end of things. How are you attracting seller leads, whether it's brand building, whether it's lead curation? How are you doing it, Shay?
Sure. So I'm going to kind of divide that answer into 2 different sections. One is seller leads from social media and non-social media. So from the social media side, I have found a bunch of large groups. There's one in Chicago called Mama Tribe Chicago, which has about 30,000 moms in it. And people are constantly asking there for recommendations of pediatricians and summer sports camps and things like that. And people trust reviews from strangers online that they have never met more than they trust their own research. So people will post on there and say, you know, I'm looking to sell my house. I'm going to move to Denver. You know, can somebody recommend a realtor? And what I have found is 35 agents go on and recommend themselves, and that's not effective. What is effective is to message your clients, get your clients to join those groups ahead of time if you think it'll be a helpful group for them. And then when you see that post, reach out to them and say, hey, so-and-so just posted on Mama Tribe that they're looking for an agent. Would you go on and recommend me? And so I'll have like 10 clients recommend me on that group, and I'll kind of sit back and watch, and then I'll chime in and be like, oh my gosh, thank you so much everybody for recommending me. I so appreciate it. You know, and then I'll reach out to that potential seller, and 9 times out of 10, I get the business because now 10 other people have recommended me versus me recommending myself. I think it's also really important. 2 and 3 clients are going to research you extensively before they decide to use you. And the number one thing they're they're looking for are reviews. So, we use Real Satisfied to get our reviews, and we make sure those reviews are posted on Zillow, on Yelp, on Google, on realtor.com, and our Facebook page, right? So you need to be getting reviews everywhere. When we moved here, there was a great group called Moving to Denver on Facebook, which is a Facebook group started by a Denver realtor. And so if you join that group, she asks you, are you a realtor? Because she doesn't let other realtors on there. And the person who runs it says, are you looking for housing? Do you need help? Do you have any questions about moving to Denver, et cetera? There's like 5,000 or 6,000 people on there. And that agent cleans up because people on there are asking questions about, hey, I want to be near this school. Where would you recommend I live? My kids are really into gymnastics. Where are the best gymnastics programs? Where should I live around there? So, I think it's about being very strategic with what you do on social media. So I love Facebook groups for that reason. I think it's also important to create a client list. So you can't do this on your computer, on your phone, but you can do it on your computer. On the left-hand side, there's a friend list button. Put all your clients in there, make a client list, and then scroll through that instead of scrolling through your feed on Facebook, and see if you're seeing any indications of those milestone moments in their lives. Because if you found out they're pregnant, now maybe they're going to need to sell their condo and buy a single family house because they're having a baby. Some other things targeted at sellers would be, you're in a market like us in Chicago where we get a lot of snow. So we do mass email blasts in the end of the summer, and Facebook ads online, et cetera, saying, hey, if you're thinking about selling in the winter or the spring, let's take your exterior photos now while everything looks pretty. And so we usually get a couple dozen new clients in our pipeline just from that. We have them sign a listing agreement then. And so now we have them locked in for any time in the next year that they want to sell. And we get those pictures done ahead of time. A friend of ours, Karen Ling in Hawaii, is doing a great new thing called Coffee with Karen. So it's once a month on a Wednesday morning at 9. It's like open office hours on Facebook. If you sign up ahead of time, she gives you a Starbucks gift card for like $5. She's pushing it through to Facebook Live, and she's basically on there to ask questions that people have about real estate. So sellers, maybe they're thinking about doing home improvement projects. They can ask her if it makes sense to do that. Buyers have questions about, when should they start their search? It's basically online hours. So I think you can be very smart about how you're doing your marketing to reach sellers.
So, but you mentioned something early on, like sellers don't need to know a lot of things. They think putting a house on the MLS is going to sell a home, right? And both of you guys really have mastered the fact that it takes work to get a home ready for sale, right? To get top dollar for it, even when folks don't know that they don't know what top dollar may be, right? So it's an interesting conversation to have. Kenny, you might be actually answering this question. How are your agents staying in touch with past clients? Did you answer that one, or?
No, social media, and then some people do postcard. We stopped doing postcards because I can't send postcard out for every sale we have because we're doing so many sales. It's going to be really annoying. Homebot is a really great tool. I know people talk about it so much, but you guys, at the cost, Homebot is like $25 a month. You're having an average of a 60 to 70% open rate, where your clients would get open. It's black and pink. It's really cute. So people have to open it. It shows a rough CMA pricing, and people will fight you on the price, which is great, which creates a conversation. So I'll get like one inquiry every month on minimum. 2 is the most I've ever seen off my database of like maybe like 200 people on there. It shows what they can do with their equity, how much they paid, is it a good time to refi, whether they rented out a room, stuff like that. So other than that, we were doing like a lot of things I used to do, I don't do anymore just because of the way my business has evolved. We were working with a company called Tiny Bee Chocolate. I'm sure there's other options too, where they send a really boutique artisan chocolates to them every year on anniversary day, and they'll write a letter, a note, handwritten, and say, "Oh, it's great, and congratulations! Can you believe it's next year?" But my first year was great. Friends tagged me on Instagram and Facebook, and the next year they saw it again, and I was like, I can't do this because they clearly know it's not for me. A really great product I've heard many agents use, and we're trying to roll out, is Client Giant, clientgiant.com. You could put people, I think, for like $100 a year, and then quarterly, because Kyle Whistle, one of my mentors here in San Diego, is using that. And then quarterly, maybe in like a winter, I'll send them like a kit to prevent snow on the windshield, and then spring, like a spray, and just different things that's seasonal that keeps in touch. And for that, it's fully automated. So I think that's a really smart product to have.
Yeah. Somebody asked about Homebot. Kenny, you mentioned Homebot, right?
Yeah, we use Homebot. We love it.
Yeah. So Homebot, by the way, is a local Colorado guy, Ernie Graham,
nice.
who is downtown here, has started that company. And Shay, I've shared your concerns about kind of the fluctuating algorithm issues with Chicago. But here, an algorithm actually can be fairly accurate because our housing stock can be a lot alike. How are you using that post-transaction stuff with Homebot to make sure clients are getting good information? Is it kind of your one, like, hey, send it out?
Pretty
You have any
good.
questions?
Yeah, it's pretty good. And the CMA value is not good. That's even better, because then that's when they inquire, hey, this number doesn't look right. So like, as long as you're staying in touch is the key, and then you have to reach out. And then kind of like, if you're working at like me, where I'm just not really good at past clients, but if people, marketing, outbound marketing is how I do my business. So like, there's sweat equity versus check equity, putting together ideas and holding events, that's sweat equity. And you're putting your time. For me, like, I just like waiting and things come in, and I build a business where that's mostly how I run my business. So Homebot just creates conversations for your clients to reach out to you at some point.
Yeah, that's great. And I think anything you can do to send highly qualitative information to to previous clients, the better. What does your post-transaction follow-up, Shay, look like? I know you do a lot of events. I know you do some follow-up. What is your core elements for all your clients for post-transaction follow-up?
Sure, we do two different things. So through our CRM, RealVolve, we have a 10-year follow-up campaign for clients. And again, it's educational content. So we have quarterly maintenance checklists that go out to them about all the things that they should know about maintaining their home. We have things that are very weather specific for Chicago, which would be applicable here in Denver. So, if we're going to get a big snowstorm and it's going to be really cold outside and we're worried about their pipes freezing, we'll send an email out to everybody saying, hey, it's going to be really cool tonight. We're worried about your pipes freezing. Here's what you need to do to prevent that. Here's what you do if it happens. If you're out of town, let me know, and my team will come over and do these things for you. So we really think of ourselves as full service realtors, even after the transaction ends for these people. And then on social media, again, our whole philosophy is content based. So we work with our referral partners a lot. I would be reaching out to the roofer who is the sponsor today and saying, hey, can you shoot some 30-second to 1-minute videos for me on what do people need to do when they do have a ton of snow, and are ice dams here a problem? What should they be doing to prevent those? Should they be getting heating cables in their gutters? Have those already shot so you can send those out when that type of weather is coming. I'd be reaching out to the lender. Interest rates just jumped way up for people buying investment properties and second homes earlier this week. So we're shooting a video with our lender partner about that and sending it out to everybody saying, hey, if you're thinking of buying a second home or an investment property, interest rates went up about 0.5 point. This is what you need to know about that. So have those referral partners that you can, do some educational content with and get that out via your social media. Because again, nobody cares about you, right? They don't care that I'm going to go get a haircut and post that on social media. They care, what can I do for them and how can I educate them? At least in my philosophy, that's my philosophy, is it's what's in it for them at all times.
Both of you guys have mentioned that reviews are a huge part of your lead generation plans. Allison Kaufman actually asked a really good question, right? That I get a lot as well. You're a new agent. How do you get the word out that you are a professional, that you are an expert? Maybe Shay, start with you from the agent point of view, right? So from the new agent point of view, because I know you were in that predicament before. Maybe Kenny on the with your new agents, how do you advise them to do it? Shay, go ahead, go first.
Sure, absolutely. So I've been an agent for about 8 years. When I first started, those reviews are gold. And so I've always used Real Satisfied from the beginning. We would send the survey out, but then I found really it's the follow-up text that's important. It's that personal ask to get the review. So I would, text them typically and say, hey, I just sent you a link to fill out a review. I would really appreciate it if you would do that for me. It means the world to my business. And, and I make it very personal. I say, this is how I put a roof over my family's head. This is how I'm going to send my kid to college. As the child of a single mom, I really want to provide better for my child, please help me, essentially. And I'm constantly thanking my clients in that way, saying, thank you for letting me put food on the table for Oliver. Thank you for letting me, put money to be able to send him to college, right? So I think the more personal connection you can make it, the better. And then from there, we take that review, we copy and paste it, we send it back to them, and we say, thank you so much for leaving us this review. Can you please take a second to copy and paste it and put it on all these other websites? Here's the link, right? So you can get it on all those websites.
when you're first new and you don't have a lot of clients, go to your referral partners, say to your lender that you've kind of done a couple deals with, hey, can you refer me? I think it's really powerful online when you have a review from a lender saying, hey, Shay's one of the best realtors I've ever worked with. I send a lot of my clients to her. Have your inspector do the same thing. Ask all those referral partners, have your managing broker post a referral for you. Go to those people who've seen you do a couple deals and ask them to do referrals. It doesn't have to, or reviews. It doesn't have to be a client.
Kenny, how do you advise your new agents to get reviews?
Yeah, I mean, those are all really, really good points. Trying to scramble my brain. Google business reviews are by far will be the most important reviews you can get. I can dive into that a little deeper because you don't want to be dependent on Zillow. Yelp, I think is incredibly hard. If you guys have done it, then great. From what I've seen in my market, the 30, 40 people who've done Yelp really well have done it over 10 years. Like I came late. I've never been much of a Yelp person. In fact, on Yelp, I actually have more 0-star reviews than any other agent in my market. I have like 6 or 7 0-star reviews from people who have never worked with me, because back then when I was doing the newsletter and people were really annoyed, like I talk trash back to people. I don't care. So I'm funny on Yelp, and that's why maybe I've limited myself from the higher end of the market, and it's over for me already. But I'm still doing 600 million, so it's okay. There's a site called reach150.com. I think you guys should all check out. It's fairly inexpensive. I'll let the lender locally actually gives it to us for free. So find a lender. For reach150.com, you can copy and paste all your reviews right onto there, like whatever you have. So that's kind of cool. And then homelight.com, like even though you don't like these websites or like these websites, homelight.com, you guys actually should have a web profile on realtor.com, homelight.com, Zillow, even if you don't care for the platform. On homelight.com, there's 2 types of reviews. There's reviews, which I barely have any, or recommendations. Recommendations, you can also upload a bulk list of all your reviews. So boom, right on the website, top 10 searches, you have a couple different websites that has all your reviews. Because then asking for people to review is pretty annoying or hard to get. So sometimes you might incentivize them. I used a tool called birdeye.com when my team was much smaller a couple years ago. It's very expensive. I can't recommend it. It's like $200 a month. So I did a year contract. It's like $2,000. But what it did, I uploaded a list of about 250 past clients many years ago, and it would text them every month, or like just not bulk all at once, but maybe 1 or 2 a day, where it would ask for a review. It sends them an email blast with like, here's a link to my Zillow page, here's a link to Google page. And I liked it on Google. When you press it, the Google review pops up. It's not going to the page first and then clicking. It's right there. Just write something. So I had a lot of random reviews pop up on that on birdeye.com. If you want to, you can probably manually create a system like that. That's pretty easy, where you text a picture with a link to review. And then what Shay said was really great by asking your vendors for review. Some of my lenders wrote reviews for me. I didn't ask for it. They wrote on my Google business page. So that's a good way to kind of exchange business. I know agents locally that wrote reviews for me. So I wrote them back, because the Google business page, no one knows any better. And it's a pretty legit review, because you have to have an actual Gmail or whatever to be an account on there. And if you're a new agent, I've seen some agents succeed at very high level early on when they weren't doing a lot of business. This isn't quite fake it till you make it. It's I'm using that phrase, someone says telling the truth or something like that. I was like, that was pretty cool. Some agents ask for reviews when they show the home, because on Zillow, you can actually write show the home, and then you're getting that to review. So you can, and for Yelp and all these websites, you can ask for people that can just talk about your character. This is a great person. I worked with him before. I trust him. I like him, or whatever that might be. So you don't have to only get reviews when you only have a sale. So you can get reviews for who you are. So there's, and then I haven't experimented, but I've heard nothing but really, really, really great things about the new platform, Google Local Service Ads, where it puts your face way above, like way, way above when people look at things. Leads are on average about $100, but they convert at an insanely high level. There's a guy named Sunit Argawal. If you guys want to check him out, Big Block Realty, Sacramento. He was his first Zillow Flex team in California. He sold 600 homes last year. On his local service, he has tons of reviews on his business page, and then he's smart enough where he's getting the people when they review to mention the agent's name. So when he's running these ads, people are coming in asking specifically for that agent. And I talked to a guy named Greg Soliker, the #1 team in Louisville, Kentucky last week. They said they got 17 deals, listings last month through Google Local Services Ad. And my friends Austin Glass and Mint Real Estate in LA said they've gotten like 1.7 million listings last month from Google Local Service Ad. Because for Google Local Service Ad, they background check you. I think you send in a pay stub or something, and then I send in my copy of my driver's license. So it's like a 10-step process to be on there. So if you can get on there and you have a lot of reviews, it's just, I mean, for you to rank highly when someone searches Denver right at the top, it's pretty incredible so far. Yes, it's a paid lead, but it's a very high, very high converting paid lead. So we haven't activated yet because we've been so busy.
Yeah, that Google Local Services ad platform is going to be key as they phase out a lot of the Google pay-per-click products and services that Google is starting to do right now. Really good mention of that, Kenny. Thanks so much. Somebody asked about Nextdoor. That's an interesting one to me. All I see or hear about are people mad about their neighbor's dog pooping on their yard. But I think if you commit to really anything, right, you're going to be okay. Have any of you guys used Nextdoor? I know Shay, you haven't, but Kenny, have you?
I did 1 year. I spent like $8,000 and I got one deal. I made up for it, and I spent some more and nothing happened. I don't like it. I think it's gotten a lot better through the messaging and stuff they've done, but my experience with it was not that great. And then I don't know how Nextdoor works, but they get a MLS feed from somewhere. I think they scrub the internet, to be honest. List up, because I got like 3 or 4 leads last year, and they were for listings that went closed like half a year to a year ago. So it's not that's a weird conversation to have versus the lead checking at least a pending deal. So I haven't had a good experience with that, but I've heard many people, and you're right, it's just a lot of people piss off at things, so I don't go on it too much. You do have to create a business profile that's separate from a regular profile, so you need 2 separate email address. I've gotten a couple of reviews on there, so I'm the most reviewed person in Nextdoor, and I haven't gotten any business, barely any business from it. Where people do supposed to get really good business is you go in and when someone needs help with a recommendation for a contractor or a CPA or something, but then that's investing a lot of time in it. And I just don't use that, and I focus my time more on Facebook and interacting with other agents.
Yeah. Okay. So I heard for reviews, real satisfied from the agent point of view. Reach 150 NAR, and that's actually an NAR product, which is great. That's great from the brokerage and large team point of view. For you, RE Colorado guys, Rate My Agent is baked into RE Colorado, which is real satisfied on steroids. But it associates reviews directly to the listing that you sold. So for Allison, get a sale and then ramp up with Rate My Agent, which is part of your dues you pay to RE Colorado. So
no, but speaking of NAR, you just remind me of something. A strategy we used back then, it's like sending a CMA report to your clients on their anniversary every quarterly. And I just saw something cool. NAR emailed us that RPR had a huge refresh. I haven't looked at it yet, but that could be a great way to plug in an address, get a pretty decent CMA, and just forward that to your client. And like, again, adding value and staying in touch at no cost.
Yeah, RPR is actually, they've refreshed their website and their mobile app. They're having a little bit of lag problems with it. So give it a couple of weeks, let them work out the kinks and then go to it. Okay, so we've got a couple more minutes left. Next month's Connect is going to be about team building. Both of you guys have built teams. Kenny, you built one. I'm going to give you props. You built one in the middle of a freaking pandemic, man. And watching that has been amazing.
Thank you.
But Shay, you built a team. What has been the asset of that team in regards to your clients? I think a lot of people think about team building in terms of revenue, but building a team in terms of client service is at the heart of both of your guys' businesses. What is the meaning of your team in regards to your client? Shay, your thoughts?
Sure. So our team was sort of forced because we moved to Denver for Nobu's new job. So I had to build a team, and I had to figure out how to make it work. What has been interesting is that we really focused on, how can we build a team to give our clients a better customer service experience? For us, it's always about our clients and how they can have a better experience. We really consider ourselves full service realtors. We are that one-stop shop for them, so that we will help them with the remodeling projects after the transaction closes. We will put lock boxes on their property and let in carpet cleaners for them afterwards. Like, we're really about how can we do everything for them. We'll help them find movers, packers, unpackers, etc. So what we've done with the team that's worked really well is we now assign 2 agents. So it's usually myself and one of the other people, because I only have 3 people on my team, to each client. And we have found that gives them a much better client customer experience, because now what happens is we're all 4 of us, if it's a couple, will be on a text chain together. My agent on the ground will go and do all the showings with them. If they leave a showing and they like that property, she'll message me immediately via Slack, which is our internal messaging system that we use as a team. And I will sit down at the computer and start running comps. By the time they get home, I've already done the comps, written the offer, sent it over to them via DocuSign. They can pull it up on their phone, DocuSign it, and we can have that offer to that agent within 20 or 30 minutes of leaving a showing. And we can go, 10, 15,000 over ask if we need to, and give like a 2-hour deadline and just try to lock it down for our clients really, really quickly. So we have found our clients are just getting answers quicker, they're getting CMAs quicker, they're getting offers written quicker, and they're having a better experience because we have 2 people now assigned to each client for that whole transaction.
Kenny, team building, what about you?
Yeah, speaking specifically on the client experience, like people should, I mean, there's a lot of teams that are really groups, just a bunch of people combining stats. Those aren't true teams. A team has a true leader and a systems, processes, accountability. You should consider hiring a team, and what you'll know when your client service starts dropping, your clients are checking in on you before you check in on them. Hey, I thought you were gonna send me this offer. I thought you would send me a disclosure. What do you think? So for us, like running a team, I've always worked with a different partner. We're in every single group thread together. We're in single emails along with my executive assistant. She monitors everything and looks at every single contract. It was one reason you need a team, and one reason and then for our team, we also have virtual assistants that help send the disclosure advisory form, the PEAT form, and help schedule showings. So I feel like even though I'm less in production, like my focus is to make sure our clients are getting a great experience, even though it's not my direct client. So how do I enhance the agents to have more tools at their disposal so they can focus on talking to the clients much more and in depth, be thorough. This is how you do a CMA. This is how you use all those research to deliver stats. This is how you can't even touch our leads unless you can deliver a buyer's presentation over Zoom and understand contracts. So a couple of people have failed. They're constantly hopping on with sales manager. Until you do that, you can't even touch any of our leads. So we're focused on that experience for the agent and for the buyer and seller.
Yeah, that's awesome. Go ahead, Shay.
I think there's one thing that Kenny said it's really important is that you have to be reaching out to the client before they reach out to you. And that was one big change we made this year. And it was such an aha moment for me when my new agent who joined my team was like, well, why don't we just text every client every Monday morning? Because they have questions from the weekend. And then I don't work on Fridays because we don't have childcare on Fridays. So that's our day with my son. And so now I text them every Thursday morning just to check in and say, hey, it's almost the weekend. Just want to check in and see if you have any questions or you need anything. And I think whether you're a team or a solo agent, just doing that text every Monday morning and doing that text every Thursday morning, you're reaching out to them before they're reaching out to you. It also allows you to control your time better so that I'm not getting tons of random texts on Friday and Saturday when I'm doing other things. I can answer their questions on Thursday when I have time, and they're getting that, those answers when they really need them. So I think, as Kenny said, reaching out with a phone call, a text, whatever it is, at least a couple times a week is really important.
The team leader should be doing high level stuff, right? Like I'm not on showings. I read every group text that comes in, but I respond to like maybe 5% of them. But when it's time for my new agents, when it's time to write an offer, go over a presentation, they didn't need me, I jump on those calls, I dig deep. So like even on showings, I don't talk that much to my clients when I'm on showings. I let them do their thing. I'm usually recording something, but when they ask me something, I go really, really, really deep into like things like what the homes have sold for what I think of this area, but I don't do small chat, nor with my clients. But then cool part, like I'm working all these years through my different partners, even though they had 90% of the conversation with the clients, when someone reaches back, 9 out of 10 times they usually reach out to me, because then that's when you're a true team leader. Your value is your knowledge and expertise. It's not just, meeting and building rapport, opening doors, which is great. And you should have that. That's why I bring on partners to work with me, because that's not somewhere I excel. I like studying the market and knowing what to do versus actually going and do it.
That's awesome, guys. What I love about this is ending this on this client experience conversation, which I love. And then for you, Kenny, the agent experience, boy, that is actually something that I see here in Denver needing a big kick in the butt, right? It's what are these agents experiencing both when they're part of your team? Guys, fantastic information. Thank you so much for joining us today. Shay, thank you. Kenny, I was gonna thank you even more because it's an hour behind, but you look like you're in a very fantastic resort type thing.
We're at the end, it's really warm now.
Thank you guys so much. Kenny's on IG, on TikTok, on everywhere. Get to know him there. Shay is nowhere because she's an introvert, but she's around on the Facebooks of the world. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. If I can give you guys one last little thing to look into is our Connect for next month. It's going to be about team building with some local experts who've built their teams. Excellence Awards is next month as well. Sign up for that. Tom Ferry is our keynote, where you're going to hear a lot of what actually Kenny talked about in his keynote. Tom is a great guy, and in fact, he will have a lot of really good information. Thank you guys so much for joining us today, and I'm going to pass this on to Melanie for our networking.
Hi, everybody. So I think we have one listing to discuss. Are you ready to put that up?
Yeah, is Lauren Ibarra on the call? Lauren, listing on Ontario? No, Lauren? Lauren? With You First Realty, are you on the call? I don't think she's here, so.
Must
Melanie,
be pending. So,
she's
all
already
right,
got
well,
a
thank-
contract.
Oh, sorry, this is Sarah
Oh.
Akins. I didn't realize that we could talk about our listings. Can I share mine? Or-
We need him in advance so that we can bring him up for you.
Oh, shoot skis. Okay, sorry, I didn't realize. I'll just throw the website in the chat. Is that okay?
That'd be great. Please do that.
Okay.
And then you can go on if anyone has some buyer needs they want to talk about or throw in the chat, Melanie.
Yeah. Anybody have any buyer needs they want to talk about? Okay. Oh, here's some buyer needs. Okay. I think they're up in chat. Is there anything else do you want me to call those out, Julie, or just everybody refer to chat?
Yep, you can just refer to the chat. That's okay. There's a bunch of them in there. They've got time to take a look at that chat. You could probably go ahead and.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think thanks again to Shay, Kenny, Nobu, everybody. It was a great session, and we're off just in time to start March Madness. So may all your teams dance deep. Go Buffs. Thanks for joining.
Thank you all. If anybody's wondering, yes, you will get a recorded version of this, and this will be on our social media and our website as soon as today, most likely next week. Thanks for joining us, everybody.